Hi, my name is Blair Tynes, and this is Andrew Crum, along with Will Chadwick. We're here to investigate the differences between Google Glass and your average smartphone. I'll be asking them a series of questions comparing Glass to a typical iPhone or Android phone. Since Glass is currently set up as an extension of your smartphone, we've decided to weigh the pros and cons of using Glass as a cell phone extension versus just using a cell phone without Glass in an attempt to find out if Glass makes life easier or if it just becomes more of a nuisance. So our first question is, in what ways is Google Glass simply an extension of your cell phone?
I really think there's nothing you can do on Glass that you can't do on a cell phone, other than the fact that it's hands-free. On Glass, you can take a picture without other people seeing. But other than that, it's basically the same thing as the cell phone.
Right. I mean, it literally can't do anything that your phone can't do. So aside from the point of view, recording, or the hands-free aspect, as far as I'm concerned, it really is just like your phone. And it literally does have to be synced up with your phone, contacts, everything. So in that respect, it truly is basically just a part of your phone.
Okay, and yeah, we kind of illustrate this dynamic with an interesting picture. It's actually a picture of someone taking a picture of the Glass wearer using a cell phone. So it kind of portrays this interesting dynamic that's kind of the same thing. We thought that was kind of a cool picture. Which kind of brings us to our next question. In what instances is it actually easier to use Glass to record media?
I don't know if I would ever say that it's easier. I do think there are benefits to using Glass to record media, though. For instance, it kind of creates a different sort of style of recording with the point of view, which you can't really get with any other device. So that's kind of cool. I found that to be a good aspect, but also the hands-free. I was able to play squash with Glass and get footage. I know other people played tennis with it, and so that's stuff that you can never do holding a phone. So the hands-free aspect gives you an opportunity for a completely different style of recording media.
Yeah, Glass's slogan is "for those who move," but I kind of disagree with what Andrew said. To me, the Glass's screen, which appears on the top right corner of your vision, was kind of distracting to my line of sight. I try to do some active activities such as juggle a soccer ball and throw darts. And really, if I looked at the screen for a brief second, I would mess up what I was doing. And so to me, it's really not that helpful for activities where you're moving.
Okay, and we actually have another video of someone trying to take a video and it was messing up. Did either of y'all find that, and you had trouble getting the video to work with, for example, with like the extension?
Oh yeah, with the extension, that's one thing. When I was juggling the soccer ball, to sit there and try to juggle and then tap the touchpad was something that kind of got in the way of what I was doing.
Right, I agree with that. When I was playing squash, I could only get 10 seconds of footage because I wasn't able to swipe forward and keep it going. But yeah.
Okay, and for our next question, we actually have another video. It's related to driving. So, how does driving with Glass compare to using a phone while driving? For example, texting or using Google Maps on your phone or something like that?
I think it's probably just as dangerous as texting while driving, because you have that constant urge to look at the Glass screen and, you can browse the internet, you can record a video, and anything like that to me is a distraction. And, I think there should be a law against driving with Google Glass.
Right, I agree with that. I think both are tremendously distracting and neither one should be done. I think it's kind of unsafe. I felt a little uneasy while driving with Glass and even with the screen up there when I wasn't using it. But I think it's interesting to see how they would compare to each other with, when you're using your phone while driving, it's your undivided attention leaving the road for a very short period of time, versus with Glass, it would be kind of the constant, not completely undivided attention, but divided attention between Glass and the road. So I'm not really sure which one would be worse, but definitely both would make me uneasy while driving.
Right, and that was actually that's actually my video. So I kind of felt very distracted, even though I wasn't using glass. Just kind of having that screen up there, simply recording a video I found was very distracting.
Right, like I think like if you're using it like for directions and stuff, I never do this, but I can just see you kind of watching the little blue dot moving along the map instead of the road.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that would be highly distracting.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are your thoughts with regards to making phone calls with glass?
Well, I only made a couple phone calls, and they were in my quiet house when I was with just one other person. They were being quiet, and for starters, I had to go onto my Google Plus account, put in the contact because it wasn't already a Google Plus account. So I think I only ended up having 2 phone numbers on glass that I could even call. But once I made the call, it kind of worked when it was really quiet. But the sound on the other line, like the sound is incredibly muffled. Like I guess it's because it sends the vibrations through your temple instead of directly into your ear. But I found it to be, I just imagine using it in a crowd would be nearly impossible.
Yeah, I agree. Like Andrew, I only made a few phone calls, and I agree that it was hard to hear. Another thing was it seemed like the microphone on glass wasn't directly on your mouth. So I tried to call my dad, and it sounded like he was having a hard time trying to hear me. And it was just kind of difficult to communicate through a voice call with glass.
Okay. And so what about, I guess on the other hand, what about text messages?
Yeah, I mean, texting, I didn't send that many texts, but it was like Google Voice couldn't really recognize what I was saying, and maybe that's because I was mumbling or talking slow, whatever. But yeah, it's a lot of times it didn't really interpret what I was saying to the text message, which that was a problem.
Right. For me, this goes back to not really syncing up perfectly. I have an iPhone, and so I wasn't able to iMessage. I never sent a text message. I think it would need to sync up a lot better. I know it syncs well with an Android. I'm sure that works well if you're sending text messages. But I guess like Will said, Google Voice it's not effective in that light either. So I think text messaging on the glass really needs to improve for it to ever have a shot.
Yeah, I actually have an Android phone, and I noticed, it was easy to text without iMessage, but Glass would automatically send my texts. So if the voice interpreter didn't correctly put the right text sound, I had to tap the screen real fast to be able to stop the text from sending. It was kind of like on an automatic timer, which was kind of strange. How would the quality of the product affect your decision in choosing between a phone or Google Glass?
I guess my first thought when I got the glass was durability. I understand it's supposed to be waterproof, but I guess if we're comparing phones to glass, a LifeProof case can easily make my iPhone waterproof as well. But that wasn't even my biggest concern. When I saw it, I was hesitant to even put it in my backpack because it could get jostled around, and I was worried that it would get broken. And I feel like it's much more easily broken than a phone. And so that was my thought.
Yeah, one of my thoughts was, comparing glass to a phone, phone's battery life is so much better. Going back to Google Glass's slogan for those that move, if you're going to take glass out on, an outdoor activity such as a hike or, you went canoeing or kayaking, anything like that. I don't know if the battery power would last the whole time, to tell you the truth, because if you're not able to constantly recharge it, it's the battery life is very short. In comparison to my phone, my phone lasts the entire day without charging it. So,
yeah, and another thing, I feel like Glass is going to need 3G capability. Without having my phone. Glass was nothing. Sure, you can link it up with Wi-Fi or your computer, but this goes back to for those who move. If you're moving without your phone, also, it's solely a recording device. So I think that in addition to, I know I have extremely high rates if I use a personal hotspot, and so I had to have a hotspot going the entire time. So I think the glass needs 3G capability if it's going to ever be successful.
Yeah, and I mean, being a college student, it's it's a $1,500 product, which that's unrealistic for pretty much any college student, and and then if you break it or anything like that, how expensive is it going to be to fix?
Right.
Which that's another big issue for glass.
Okay, which kind of takes me to my final question. Obviously, with some of the improvements that we've kind of touched upon, what do you think glass could ever completely replace the cell phone?
I don't know. I mean, it's just unless they find a way to completely revamp the microphone and the earpiece. No, I don't think so.
Right. I mean, I think on the surface, there's too much wrong with glass right now for it to ever completely take over. But even if all that was fixed, for me, there's a certain stigma with glass right now. I mean, people just universally are not gonna start wearing glass. It's not gonna be something that everybody does, and unless that's the case, then it's never gonna be a big thing because nobody wants to be the glass hole. So unless it was just suddenly universally accepted and all the problems we discussed are fixed, I don't see it, no.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our dialogue. We hope that we've informed you and possibly helped you in deciding whether or not glass is right for your own personal use. And using glass for 24 hours was truly an interesting experience, and we'd like to thank W&L for the opportunity to try out a product like this.